Good evening, Cambridge. My name is Lia, and I'm doing a PhD at the Sanger Institute out in Hinxton, so nearly off the edge of the universe for anyone who just cycles in Cambridge. So I usually describe myself, not always at parties, but you know, if I have to, as a molecular parisitologist. Yeah, that's the reaction I usually get. Let me break it down a bit. So, parisitologist. So that's an intrepid scientist who ventures to the most tropical regions of the world to find cruel creatures that cause deadly diseases. Then there's molecular. That means they post it to me in my lab in Cambridgeshire, and I work on it here. Anyway, so molecular parasitology. So you might be wondering to yourself, possibly, though probably not, what skills a good molecular parasitologist needs? What life skills do you need to succeed in molecular parasitology? Awesome! I'm buying you a drink later. So there are 3 basic skills you need to succeed in molecular parasitology. The first is the ability to move small volumes of liquid, preferably colourless liquid, from one container to another, using a tool like this. So from one tube you can suck, there's a button for that, and you go bring the liquid up, and you can carry it as far as you like to a second tube and eject. Very technical and very difficult to train someone to do. The downside is that if I wanted to move a volume of liquid that is a reasonable quantity, like say a pint, from one vessel to another, I would have to do that action 600,000 times. So I suggest that you don't ask me to pour a drink at the bar later. We probably have, you know, there's probably less time left in the universe than it would take me to do that. Okay, so pipetting, that's the first sort of skill a molecular parasitologists need. What's the next skill? The next skill is data analysis. So when I'm doing that, I look something like this. That's a computer keyboard, in case you're wondering. So you do this quite a lot, staring at the screen, preferably as hunched over as possible to give yourself the maximum amount of RSI. And every 5 minutes or so, possibly sooner, you have to drink coffee. Skill 2. The third skill is thinking very, very hard about whatever problem there is, and that requires a special posture. It's something like this. It's quite easy to mistake it for a zombie attack on the nation. Be careful. Don't take out your best scientists when they're doing that. Occasionally you can mix it up. I go like that. Either way, if you stop sort of midway going through a door doing that pose, it doesn't really help. You may just have had the best idea in the universe, but the janitor is going to clobber you, so you know, no use. Now, the really, truly skilled molecular parasitologist will combine the 3 in close succession. So it'll be like pipette, think, data analysis, data analysis. The really clever trick is not to mix up the beaker of deadly parasites with your coffee cup. Because that tends to end badly, and you tend to not be popular when the lab gets shut down. Anyway, hasn't happened yet, it's fine. So those are your 3 basic life skills. So okay, I've got those, I can begin my PhD. So I said to my supervisor, what do I need to begin my PhD? So on the first week, I was given a flask of parasites. Now I work on malaria, a disease which kills about 1 million people, mostly in sub-Saharan Africa. It's quite bad. Are you supposed to laugh? Anyway, the useful thing about malaria parasites, if you want to try and learn how to kill them, I'm definitely going to anyway, to keep malaria parasites alive, you keep them in human blood. And being something that likes to live in human blood, you can keep them at 37 degrees C, and they'll stay alive for a while, until they need fresh blood, and then you give them a bit more. Now, fortunately, these days we get our blood from the National Blood Service from bits that are left over and no use. I hear in the past, they used PhD students. The downside of this, apart from getting through more PhD students and having to write more grants, was that for the look of the institute, all your PhD students looked like they were regular drug users. So you had to keep them in a darkened room. But anyway, so yeah, minor disadvantage. So anyway, I was given the flask full of parasites and I was told, feed them with fresh blood every 2 days or so, split them up, they'll be fine. I said, okay, I now have my deadly parasites. I know how to keep them alive. What do I do next? I was given the protocol. The protocol had about 28 different steps to it, each of which was split into a number of subsets, and came on about 40 pages. It's quite a long protocol. And I was told, this protocol, it works. Can you see where this is going? Anyway, the protocol, here are the parasites, someone's done it on this before, it should work the first time. So I tried it the first time, following every instruction very carefully on all 40 pages. Do you think it works?
No.
Bollocks. So I thought, okay, mild incompetence. I mixed up microlitres and pints. Easy mistake to make. Could have happened somewhere. So dutifully, I got all my parasites out the incubator, took them downstairs, and tried it again. Do you think it worked that time?
No.
Bollocks. So yeah, it's severe incompetence now. You'd think it'd be possible if someone else has done this for me to repeat it. 17th attempt. What do you think happened?
Bollocks.
Yeah, bollocks. So during this, I was slowly questioning my sanity. It was 524 days, 14 hours, and 5,442 cups of coffee since I started my PhD, and it hadn't really gone anywhere. Yeah. And I had a talk the next week, and I need some data. I learned to use Photoshop, but that was about as far as I got. So I looked, and then I thought, hang on a minute, if I turn everything upside down and assume it was all wrong and then turn it the other way up, maybe it wasn't step 7 that was going wrong. The really fiendishly complicated step that involves cutting out things and selecting things and, purifying what you want. I figured it out. There was a moment of enlightenment. And then I swear, string of expletives, fuck damn bugger. That was about all I could say, my eureka moment. And what did I say? Fuck damn bugger. Fine. Anyway, so I tried that. And you know what? I changed one thing in step 2, and it worked. So 542 days to figure out what it was, an hour to fix the bloody thing, and data like 2 days later. Oh! Yeah, there weren't enough expletives in the world to explain how relieved I felt when I had data 4 days before my talk. Awesome. So yeah, it's a while. So I've been working on this for the last 6 months, and I finally figured out why people put themselves through this. It's the feeling when it actually works. Because about 5 o'clock this afternoon, I finally got some data that works. Woohoo! I thought about bringing you a printout, but I wasn't sure you'd appreciate the detail. The gist is there. So I finally figured out that we now know some tiny thing about what the malaria parasite does that we didn't know at 2:30 this afternoon. Which is nice. Anyway, so I thought I probably should leave you with a cheesy pun, because I hadn't fit any more, about why biology was a good thing to study, in case that little last bit didn't swing it for you. So I thought, of all the sciences, it's a great one, because it's the only one where division and multiplication get the same result. Have a lovely day.